My younger sister had an affair with my husband and then tried to steal my house. My name is Olivia, but everyone calls me Liv. I'm 33, and I live in a small city in North Carolina. I've been divorced for a year now. I have a 6-year-old daughter, Harper, who thinks glitter is a personality trait. Before everything blew up, if you asked me who my favorite person in the world was besides my daughter, I would have said, without hesitation, my little sister, Paige. She's 3 years younger than me. Growing up, she was the loud one, the pretty one, the one with big feelings and even bigger drama. I was the responsible one, the built-in babysitter, the one my parents leaned on. That dynamic started early. When our mom was working late and our dad was on a construction site out of town, I'd make mac and cheese, help with homework, put Paige to bed. When she got in trouble, bad grades, sneaking out, bringing home sketchy boyfriends, my parents would say, "Liv, talk to your sister. She listens to you." They loved her. They just didn't know what to do with her. So I did. I was her confidante, cover, coach conspirator. She'd cry on my bed after breakups, swear she'd be better, that she'd stop picking losers. I'd smooth her hair and say, "You deserve someone good." When I met Eric in my early 20s, everyone was relieved. My parents, my friends, Paige, most of all. "You did it," she said after meeting him properly at a barbecue. "You found a non-garbage man in this town. Miracles happen." He was calm, patient, a little boring in a way that felt like safety. He worked in finance. I worked as a teacher's aide at the elementary school. We got married when I was 25. Small wedding, white dress, BBQ reception in my parents' backyard. Paige was my maid of honor. She cried harder than I did during the vows. She was the first one to hold Harper when she was born. "Look at her," she whispered. "We made a tiny you." She loved that kid. I don't doubt that. That's part of what makes all of this so twisted. When Harper was a toddler, I used to joke that Paige and Eric were co-captains of Team Spoil the Baby. She'd show up with new toys, tiny shoes, matching Auntie Annie's shirts. He'd read the same book 5 times, let Harper jump on the couch, sneak her gummy bears. We were a tight little unit. Me, my husband, my daughter, my chaotic baby sister orbiting around us. I thought that was forever. Then Paige's life imploded. Again. At 27, she lost her job. Not because the company folded. Because she was late too many times and picked fights with her manager. Her boyfriend at the time dumped her the same week. Then her roommate told her she had 30 days to move out because she wasn't paying her share of the rent. She called me, sobbing. "I've messed everything up," she cried. "I can't go home. Mom and Dad will kill me. Please, can I stay with you for a little while? Just until I figure things out." I thought of all the nights I'd tucked her in. All the times I'd told her she wasn't a lost cause. My family first reflex kicked in hard. "Of course," I said. "We'll make up the guest room. It'll be tight, but we'll figure it out." I didn't ask Eric first. Mistake number 1. When I told him that night, he hesitated. "It's just a lot," he said. "We've got Harper starting kindergarten. You're picking up extra shifts. Do we really want to add Paige's chaos to the mix?" "She's my sister," I said. "She has nowhere else to go. We can set boundaries. 3 months tops. She can help with Harper. It'll be fine." He sighed. "Okay," he said. "We'll try it. But we need a plan and rules." We sat down with Paige and laid them out. She'd start paying a small amount toward bills as soon as she got any income. She'd help with housework. 3-month limit to find a job and new place. She nodded. Cried again. "Thank you," she said. "I won't screw this up. I swear." If you've ever believed someone at their rock bottom because you want to believe this time will be different, you know that mix of hope and dread. For a while, it actually seemed okay. She did dishes, watched Harper after school, cooked sometimes. The house was louder, messier, but manageable. Eric got used to it. They'd all sit on the couch watching cartoons. It looked normal. Maybe even nice. If you'd frozen frame our life then, you'd never have guessed what was coming. But if you hit play and watched long enough, you'd see little things start to warp at the edges. The first time I felt that electric jolt of, this is off, it was stupidly small. We were at the grocery store. Harper begged to push the cart. I let her, steering from behind so she didn't mow down old ladies. Eric and Paige walked ahead, bickering playfully over cereal brands. I heard her say, "You're such a dad, E, all bran and budgets." He laughed. "Someone has to be the adult," he said. I chimed in from behind. "And what does that make me?" Paige looked back, grinning. "You're the hot mom. He's the responsible one. It's a good combo." It was a joke. But the way she said hot mom, while looking at him, not me, and the way he quickly looked away, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. At home, little roles became set. At dinner, Harper always wanted to sit next to Daddy and Auntie Paige. They'd share jokes about their day at work. She'd found a job at his office in customer service. I'd hear, "Remember what your boss said? You should have seen her face when you replied like that." And I'd smile, feeling like I'd missed a show everyone else had tickets to. One evening, after we put Harper to bed, I came downstairs to find Paige sitting on the kitchen counter in one of my sweatshirts, swinging her legs. Eric stood opposite her, leaning on the island. She said, "You're literally the only man in my life who listens when I talk about work." He replied, "You just haven't met someone who deserves you yet." I cleared my throat. They jumped a little. "Oh, hey," Paige said. "We were just talking about how dumb my supervisor is." "Again?" I said, forcing a laugh. "She must be running out of new ways to be dumb." "Nah," Eric said. "Creativity is boundless." We all laughed. But it sat wrong. Later, in bed, I brought it up with him. "Do you ever feel like she leans on you too much?" I asked. "Emotionally?" He shrugged. "She vents," he said. "You're working late a lot. She doesn't want to dump on your parents. I'm there." "She has friends," I said. He gave me a look. "Have you met her friends?" he said. "They're worse." He wasn't entirely wrong, but that didn't make it less weird. "I'm not accusing you of anything," I said. "I just don't like feeling like the third person in my own kitchen." He rolled onto his side. "You're not," he said. "She's your sister. I know that's messy. I'm just trying to be supportive." I wanted to believe that. I chose to, because the alternative meant seeing my sister as a threat, and I didn't want that. If you were me, would you have pushed harder then? Or would you also have told yourself, "It's just family. It's fine"? Things escalated after she started working at his company. The carpooling started. At first it was practical. "Why have two cars on the road?" Eric said. "We're going the same direction." Some mornings, when I'd kiss him goodbye, she'd already be in the passenger seat, scrolling her phone. "Later, sis," she'd call, as if I were the roommate, not the wife. I began to notice they had a shared language I didn't. Office jargon, nicknames for coworkers, frustrations about meetings. One night, we'd all had a few drinks on the back deck. Harper was asleep. My parents had just left after Sunday dinner. Paige pulled out her phone. "Look at this meme," she said to Eric. Not me. "It's literally us in the break room every day." He laughed so hard he almost fell off his chair. I chuckled weakly. "What am I, chopped liver?" I said. She threw an arm around my shoulder. "You're the queen," she said. "We're just the jesters." Gute line. Didn't land. I started seeing patterns. If I was out late at a staff meeting, they ordered takeout and watched their show without me. If I came home early, they'd be at opposite ends of the couch, too far apart, looking guilty for no reason. I kept overriding my gut, reminding myself, they're family. Eric has never cheated before. Paige loves me. I didn't know yet that loving someone and betraying them are not opposites. You can do both. People do all the time. The doorbell camera was new. We'd gotten a little nervous after a string of porch pirate videos went viral in our neighborhood group. It was more for packages than for people. You install those things thinking you're protecting yourself from strangers. I ended up protecting myself from my own household. I had taken Harper to my parents for the weekend. Sleepover at Grandma and Grandpa's. She was over the moon. Movies. Cookies. No bedtime. Eric said he had to work Saturday. Big project. He'd use the alone time to catch up. I believed him. Because why wouldn't I? Saturday afternoon, my mom asked if we could keep Harper overnight. Sure, I said. More sleep for me. I texted Eric. Harper staying here tonight. Want to grab a drink later? He replied, swamped. Rain check? Love you. I ordered takeout. Watched a movie. Fell asleep on my parents' couch. At 11:23 p.m., my phone buzzed on the coffee table. Doorbell camera app. Motion detected, front door. I almost ignored it. Then some little voice, maybe the same one I'd been ignoring for months, said, look. I opened the feed. Night vision view of my front porch. Eric walked up the path. Not alone. Beside him was Paige. They were laughing softly. Too close. He unlocked the door. She slipped inside ahead of him, familiar. Like it was her house too. He looked around once, like he was checking if anyone was watching. Then followed her in. The camera timed out. Feedback to black. I stared at my phone, heart pounding. Maybe they just grabbed something. Maybe she needed to pick up mail. Maybe. My brain tried to fill in benign stories. Then the app pinged again. Motion detected, front door. An hour and a half later. They came back out. Her hair was messy. His shirt was different. He leaned down. Kissed her. Not on the cheek. On the mouth. On my porch. In my hoodie. That was the part that broke something in me. The hoodie I'd seen him grab that morning, now on his back while he kissed my sister under my porch light. If you're thinking, maybe it was a goodbye peck, maybe it was nothing. You haven't seen the way your partner kisses you when he thinks no one is watching. I knew that kiss. It was familiar, intimate, way past innocent. I didn't confront them that night. I lay there, on my parents' couch, watching the video loop, feeling like my entire life had been replaced by a grainy security feed. The next morning, I drove home before Harper woke up. Eric was in the kitchen making coffee. He smiled. Hey, babe, he said. How was your... I held up my phone. Hit play. Set it on the counter between us. His face draining of color was almost the same shade as the black and your white night vision. He didn't even bother pretending it wasn't him. Didn't ask, what am I looking at? He just said, Liv, I can exprobble you. You can explain? I cut him off. What, exactly? That you and my sister needed something from the house at 11:30 at night and then accidentally swapped spit on the way out? His mouth opened. Closed. It was wrong, he said. We got carried away. How long? I asked. He hesitated. 3 months, he said. My stomach flipped. 3 months of family dinners. Shared rides. My kid thinking Auntie sleeping over was special. Only here? I asked. Or the motel too? He went still. You read the texts, he said quietly. Yes, I said. Printer works great. He sank into a chair, put his head in his hands. I'm sorry, he said. I never meant to. The full sentence is, I never meant to get caught, I said. You meant every minute of what you did. You chose it. He flinched like I'd hit him. Please don't blow this up right away, he said. We have Harper. We have the mortgage. We can figure. There is nothing to figure, I said. You and my sister had a whole relationship in my house. You're not my husband anymore. You're my co-parent. That's it. He looked up, eyes red. I love you, he said. You just wanted more, I said. You wanted a wife, a kid, a house, and the thrill of sneaking around with the girl who used to sleep on my floor when she was scared. Congratulations. You had it. Now it's over. I walked upstairs, knocked on the guest room door. Paige opened it, hair damp from a shower. She blinked. Hey, sis, she started, trying for casual. You're back early. I held up the phone again, pressed play. Her face went dead white. You filmed us? She whispered. The house filmed you, I said. As in, my house. That you're leaving. Today. Liv, listen, she said. We didn't mean for it to. If you say just happen, I will laugh, I said. Nothing just happens for 3 months. Pack your stuff. Where am I supposed to go? She demanded, tears already forming. Mom and Dad will freak out. You should have thought about that before you slept with their son-in-law, I said. You can't kick me out, she said. This is as much my home as it is yours. Those words echoed in my head. This is as much my home. At the time, I thought she meant emotionally. I didn't know yet she'd start trying to make that legally true. Divorce moved slower than my anger. Papers. Mediation. Custody schedules. In the meantime, I was still in the house with Harper. Ethan moved into a short-term rental. Paige was somewhere. My parents were in full denial mode. When I told them I'd kicked her out, my mom said, "You can't just abandon your sister when she's clearly struggling." She abandoned me in my own marriage, I said. She'll survive a reality check. In mediation, we agreed. Joint legal custody. Harper primarily with me, overnights with him. House to be decided pending valuation. It was technically a marital asset, even though my inheritance from my grandmother had been the down payment. My income had covered most of the mortgage while Ethan went back to school. My lawyer, Miss Patel, explained it like this. In this state, the house is community property in a marriage unless you kept the title solely in your name and never commingled funds. We can argue for a larger share based on your separate contribution, but he still has a claim. I could live with a buyout, or selling and splitting. What I couldn't live with was what happened next. One afternoon, about a month into the separation, I got a call from a local mortgage broker. "Hi, is this Olivia last name?" the woman asked. "Yes," I said. "This is Karen from Mortgage Company," she said. "I just wanted to verify some information regarding an application that lists your property as collateral." My stomach dropped. "What application?" I asked. She hesitated. "A Mr. Ethan last name and a Miss Page last name came in last week to see about refinancing your address," she said. "They said they were both going to be living there and wanted to explore options for taking your name off the loan after a supposed amicable divorce." It sounded off, so I flagged it. For a second, I couldn't speak. "They came in together?" I finally managed. "Yes," she said. "They were very cozy." I swallowed bile. "I do not consent to any refinancing," I said. "The house is currently in both our names. The divorce is not final. There is no agreement. Please note on your file that I've been informed and that any attempt to do anything with this property without my written consent is fraudulent." "Absolutely," she said. "I thought you should know." I hung up, shaking. I texted Ethan. "Call me, now." He replied, "In a meeting. What's up?" I called anyway. He answered on the third ring, sounding annoyed. I said "You and my sister went to mortgage company to try to refinance my house?" I cut in. Silence. Then, weakly, "We were just asking questions," he said. "Seeing options." "Options for what?" I demanded. "For you two to move in here after the divorce? For me to, what? Rent an apartment while you play happy family in the house I paid for?" "You know Harper loves that house," he said. "It would be less disruptive if she stayed there instead of you dragging her." "You don't get to weaponize our daughter's comfort for your real estate plans," I snapped. "You lost the right to call this place your home when you turned it into your hideout with her." He sighed. "I thought we could be adults about this," he said. "Adults don't bring their mistress and my little sister to a mortgage appointment," I said. "Adults talk to their lawyer, which is what I'm doing now." My next call was to Miss Patel. She was not surprised. "I've seen this before," she said. "Cheating spouse tries to secure the family home with the affair partner, using the child as justification. The good news is they can't do anything without your signature." "They're trying to build a life in my home," I said, voice shaking, "with my kid as the emotional glue." "Then we accelerate the ask," she said. "We'll petition the court for exclusive use and possession of the marital residence until it's sold or you buy him out. Based on his relocation choices and his conduct, there's a good chance the judge grants it." And that's what we did. In court, Ethan's lawyer made the usual argument. "Our client wants stability for the minor child." She has strong ties to the neighborhood. The father intends to remain in the home with appropriate support. My lawyer countered with records of my separate down payment, proof of my larger financial contribution, the fact that Ethan had already relocated, and, delicately but clearly, his admitted affair with a member of my family whom I did not feel safe sharing a home with. The judge, an older woman with sharp eyes, looked at him over her glasses. "Mr. Last Name," she said, "do you currently reside in the marital home?" "No, Your Honor," he said. "I'm renting." "Do you intend to move your romantic partner into the home if you are granted use?" she asked. He hesitated. "My current partner is my ex-wife's sister," he said, clearly coached to be honest. A murmur rippled through the courtroom. The judge's jaw tightened. "I see," she said. "Given the circumstances, I find it is not in the best interest of the minor child to have the marital home become the residence of the father and the mother's sibling. Exclusive use of the residence is granted to the mother until such time as the property is sold or otherwise disposed of by mutual agreement. In plain English, the house was mine to live in until we decided what to do with it." After the hearing, in the hallway, Paige hissed at me. "I can't believe you embarrassed us like that in front of everyone. You made us sound like villains." "You did that yourself," I said. "I just stopped covering it up." "You're really going to throw your sister out on the street instead of letting her be there for your daughter?" she demanded. "You already threw my trust out on the street," I said. "You don't get my roof too." She called my mom crying that night. Mom called me. Started with, "She's saying you're making her homeless." I cut her off. "She has options," I said. "Boyfriends, motels, Aunt Sandra. She does not have my house." "You're being so hard," Mom said. "Family should share." "Family should not share husbands," I replied. "Or lawyers. Or mortgages." Dad, to his credit, stayed mostly quiet. He just said, "We'll help her find somewhere. You do what you need to." For once, I felt like at least one parent was willing to stand on my side of the line. It's been a year since I stood in my kitchen and told my younger sister and my ex-husband they weren't staying in my house. The divorce is final. The house? Still mine. For now. Miss Patel worked her magic. Between my separate down payment, his affair, his move out, I ended up keeping the house, refinancing in my name, paying him a smaller cash settlement instead of giving up half the equity. It wasn't easy. It meant cutting back, picking up extra work, saying no to a lot of things so I could say yes to stability. But every time I sit on my own couch, in my own living room, with no one sneaking in my door at midnight, it feels worth it. Harper adjusted better than I expected. Kids are resilient when the adults stop lying. She spends most weekdays with me, every other weekend with Ethan. She does not see Paige on his time. That's in our agreement. He can date whoever he wants. He cannot bring my sister into our daughter's routine and call it family. Will that hold forever? I don't know. But I know this. If he violates that, we're back in court. And this time, I won't hesitate to use every receipt. My relationship with my parents is thin. They still try the occasional guilt trip. Will you come to Thanksgiving if she's not there? What about Christmas morning just for Harper? So far, my answer is no. Holidays now are me and Harper. Maybe my dad, if he's willing to come alone. My best friend and her kids sprawled on the floor with board games. Smala. Real. No one is pretending for photos. Do I miss what I thought we had? Sometimes. I miss the idea of a big, close family. The fantasy that family first meant me too. But then I remember my sister in my doorway saying the house was as much hers as mine. My husband sitting in a mortgage office with her, planning a life in walls I painted while pregnant. My mom worrying more about what people would say than about the fact that her daughters were sleeping with the same man. And I realize, what I miss is imaginary. What I have now is small but honest. Last month, I was on the porch with Harper. We were chalking dinosaurs on the driveway. She looked up at the house and said, "Mom, is this our house now?" "Yes," I said. "It's ours." "Just us?" she asked. "Just us," I said. "And maybe the dog, if he ever stops digging holes." She giggled. "Good," she said. I don't like it when there are too many grown-ups fighting. Neither do I, kid. Neither do I. If you've ever been told you're ruining the family for enforcing the bare minimum of loyalty, here's what I want you to hear. You are not selfish for defending your home. You are not cruel for refusing to share space with people who disrespected you. You are not wrong for stepping out of a family that expects you to bleed so everyone else stays comfortable. Sometimes, choosing yourself looks like signing refinance papers alone, spending holidays with 1 or 2 people instead of 20, hearing your kids say, "It's just us," and hearing relief instead of sadness. My younger sister betrayed me with my husband and then tried to take my home. She got neither. What she did get was the chance to finally live a life she doesn't have to borrow from mine. And what I got? A front porch I can sit on at night, knowing that everyone who has a key to my front door has actually earned it. The other evening, as the sun was going down and the neighborhood kids were chasing fireflies, Harper climbed into my lap, rested her head on my shoulder, and said, "Mom, when I'm big, can I live here too?" I laughed and said, "You can live anywhere you want, but this will always be a place you can come home to." She seemed to think about that, then nodded, satisfied, and ran off to join her friends. Watching her bare feet slap against the pavement, hair flying, I realized that for the first time in a long time, the word home didn't make my chest tighten. It just felt solid. Mine. Ours. And no one else's.